It is now 16:04. Call the May 19th meeting of the Wolfeboro Police Commission to order at this time. And invite everybody in attendance to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. And then at this time, I'll take a motion on the minutes of April 21st, 2022.
I make a motion to accept the minutes from the last meeting on April 22.
Okay, you have a motion to accept the minutes as written for April 21st. And I will second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And we do have a couple of items for non-public under personnel.
Personnel hiring and one under reputation.
Okay. Okay. If you would like to proceed with your monthly reports, Chief?
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, first slide in your deck is going to be incident cases year to date. You'll see that from April to May, we've had, or correction, from March to April, we've had a 51%. We went up, sorry, not a 51%. We went from 46 to 51 incidents. That's a 10.87% increase. We had 73 offenses in the month. And you gentlemen have that material if you want to take a closer look at what those were. Moving on to the next slide in the deck, arrests are up 23.81% from 21 to 26 for the month of April. And that's reflective of the fact that the days are starting to get a little bit longer, and we're closing up some cases from March, and summer is here, and I think you've already seen the traffic increases, because I know that I'm seeing it, so our population density is increasing. By the way, just for those who are interested, that really amounts to, when you average this whole thing out, that really amounts to 1, maybe 2 arrests per week. And that's how it really boils down to at the end of the day.
Chief, on the arrest status report, I know we've talked about this before. Doesn't matter which one that I look at, but it looks like under arrest I have a number of, say, 702, and then like under assist or whatever, 454. Are those the officer numbers, or?
What report?
On the arrest status report, you can pick any one of the arrests, and if you look at the top line, there's arrest ID, assist ID,
Yep.
Yes.
and those are the officer numbers? Okay.
That's correct. Yeah, we can print that by name. If you want to, keeping it by number, just,
No,
the number is actually an employee ID number.
Okay, that's, all right, that makes more sense. I was thinking that all the numbers should be sequential,
No,
or within reason. But,
yeah, no, it
okay.
doesn't,
But if
yeah,
these
yeah,
are
yeah, that
employee
arrest is
numbers,
not, that's not like, we're not
badge
on the
numbers, right.
702nd arrest, no.
Okay.
No, that's.
Oh, no, I know that, but I didn't know if those were employee ID numbers, or if it was like badge, 901, 902.
No, those are
903.
employee, yeah, that's a great question. Those are employee ID numbers. So what that equates to, that is the number at town hall that you get issued when you first become an employee.
Right, same thing where I work.
So it's different from the badge number.
Yeah.
And that's
Gotcha.
the number that logs them in to IMC, so that's why IMC shows it.
Understood.
That is the individual's employee number. Like Sherry's got one too, which is not reflected on the report.
You obviously don't do any arrests.
Try not to.
Okay, thank you,
If
Chief.
she should ever have an arrest, it will show.
So, yeah.
And we'll all be in trouble when that happens. Moving on to the next slide, just kidding, just funning with you, just kidding. Traffic stops year to date, we went up slightly. We had a 1.293% increase. 15 tickets given out, that's a 6.55% chance of getting a ticket. So again, the reason that's important is because it shows our education-oriented mindset as opposed to punitive. We're looking to educate the motoring public, not necessarily punish them. Of course, those 15 tickets that got handed out were probably for some fairly egregious acts. You gentlemen have these reports here that'll show you and drill down exactly what where and when those stops were made, tickets were handed out. Collisions year-to-date, good news, we're down. We showed a decrease of 38.46%. Now that's that's important because we've seen everything else going up, and we know that we have more and more traffic, yet we've seen less crashes, right? And we're down into single digits. Thank you. That's fantastic. That's good proactive policing. That is exactly what that is. That's people seeing police cars and blue flashing lights and slowing down. And I wish there was some calculus or some metric I could use to show just how much just a mere presence deters crime and slows people down and gets people to think twice. In terms of where those crashes occurred, Beach Pond Road, Center Street, and South Main Street. So no mystery there. Moving on to the next slide in the deck, personnel analysis report. This is reflective from the beginning of the year to present, or at the end of April, if you will, 30 April. And this shows all the activity across the board for all the sworn personnel. So if you have any questions there.
As you can see, just one point to point out there, if you look at Officer Devines, the SRO, those are pretty much all coming from the school.
I figured as much.
So
yeah.
compared to,
Yeah, we really got to talk about that at some point
it's a heavy caseload, right?
yeah, she's got, yeah, and we were just, in fact, we just had a discussion with one of the principals today, and we probably should carve out some time next month to talk about that. We've got some real concerns. I have some real concerns moving forward, and but
Yeah, probably be advantageous, right, to maybe have one principal, the principal of the middle school, principal of the high school, come to one of our meetings and just let us know.
I think that's a really good idea, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because I will take that as a task, and we'll get them scheduled, and we'll come in and we'll have a chit chat. But I think they share our concerns as well. I think they're all on board.
If we can try to get them here for the June meeting, I think that would be
I'll try
timely.
that, yeah, and
Just before school gets out for the summer, and
we all have a vested interest in keeping that community safe. And why that's important, folks, it's because Wolfeboro is really a regional hub, if you will, for a lot of school activity for the SAU 49. So the headquarters for the school district is here, SAU 49, and then we have, of course, that huge high school, middle school, Crescent Lake School complex, which also includes the Voc Technical School. We're bringing in kids from Durham and Alton, Bonstead,
yep.
to the Votech Center. We have a lot of regional students from our Wolfeboro and Greater Wolfeboro coming to this. That complex is really big. That's about 2,000 people. When school's in session, students, faculty, staff in that area. That's a big population. So we really, that does bear some discussion. Gentlemen, moving on, detective report. So I will say that Detective Emerson has really been working hard these last few months, and I see it because I'm touching base with him 2 or 3 times a day, most weeks. And I know he's working hard. He's very busy, and I also know that he's stepped up to the plate to cover a lot of open patrol shifts as well. So that's very good of him. So for the month of April, Detective Emerson investigated 6 new cases. Detective Emerson has assisted the patrol division with covering patrol shifts left vacant by the departure of officers Joe Oswald and Ben Church. This resulted in an increased workload and caseload for him during the month of April. Also during the month of April, Detective Emerson was assigned 2 new ICAC cases. These new ICAC cases are extremely in-depth and require quite a bit of time. For example, Detective Emerson drafted 14 subpoenas and 11 search warrants on these 2 cases alone. Detective Emerson is working on obtaining information from internet service providers in Bangkok, Vietnam, Brazil, and Panama. Detective Emerson is still working on his previously signed ICAC cases. As a result of the previous ICAC case, Detective Emerson arrested a male subject on a warrant for the crime of non-consensual dissemination of sexual images and videos. Cases assigned investigated 2 ICAC cases, 1 child trafficking, 2 fraud, 1 IEA. Percentage of cases closed this month, 50%. Percentage of new cases closed by arrest during this month, 33%. Percentage of caseload closed, 69%. Just
numbers.
take for a moment and just ponder, you know, 2 new ICAC cases, 1 dealing in child trafficking, 2 fraud, 1 IA. That's almost every month. And these are being added to his caseload. Some of these are really very disturbing crimes. Actually, all of them, with the exception of an IEA, these are really disturbing crimes. And I'll just leave that for what it is. Gentlemen, you have his worksheet. If you have any questions, I can address that by exception. Wolfeboro Police Department School Resource Officer Report. April was the 8th month of school for SRO Divine with 16 full days of school. SRO Divine responded to several incidents in the high school, middle school, and Crescent Lake School. SRO Design wrote 2 arrest reports and 12 incident reports. She also participated in meetings regarding the Kingswood Next Steps team. Incidentally, SRO Divine took part in 2 school lockdown drills. Additionally, this past month, SRO Divine investigated 2 physical altercations at the middle school and 1 at the high school with multiple students who are in the process of diversion with White Mountain Restorative Justice. Another student is currently in the process of diversion regarding a separate incident related to drug activity. SRO Divine took 2 reports from students regarding prior assaults, both of which occurred in other jurisdictions. Those reports were then forwarded to the responsible investigative agencies outside of our jurisdiction. Officer Divine transported a student from the middle school to the Wolfeboro Police Department for protective custody, charged with disorderly conduct and criminal threatening. Additionally, another student was issued as summons for possession of a vape pen at the middle school, as this was the student's 2nd offense. Officer Divine also assisted with multiple first-time offenders at both the high school and middle school, all received in-school discipline. SRO Divine had responded to Crescent Lake for 2 disorderly conduct incidents. She took the time to educate the students on their behavior. All the students are receiving in-school discipline. Officer Divine also took a report from the high school regarding juvenile truancy and forwarded it to DCYF for action. Additionally, 3 more students were truant from the middle school and were found in the downtown area. The students were then escorted back to the middle school and turned over to school authorities for whatever actions they deem appropriate. Lastly, SRO Divine took a report of littering at the Crescent Lake School. SRO Divine identified the individual who was then made to pick up the trash. You'll have her report if you want to drill down onto any specific piece of information. Mr. Chairman, moving on, I'll hit the chief's items.
You have any questions on the?
I do not.
Nothing? Okay, go ahead, Chief.
Okay, general budget items. There will be an end-of-quarter budget review for the first quarter FY22 after the presentation of the chief's items. Bottom line up front, we're doing well. We're just about 2% underspent in FY22 budget. It's tight, but we're managing. Our gas and oil line is overexpended by about 5% due to low gasoline forecast for fiscal year 22. We were asked to budget $2.56 per gallon, which we did, and an ever-increasing gas cost has caused this line to run a little bit hotter than normal. Nothing so far is stabilizing, and I am anticipating between $7,000 and $27,000 over expenditure based on what happens in July with the new gas contract and the ever-increasing gas prices. Gentlemen, I just don't know where this thing is going to land, and that's why there's such a broad estimate on how much we're going to overexpend that line, and that's in spite of the 5 tiers that we have in place. Right now we're in tier 1. We are showing a constriction of about half, a little bit more than half, so we've been able to reduce our gasoline usage from about 1,200 gallons to we were slightly over 500 gallons, Captain, refresh my memory, in April. May will be very telling, so we know our 5-tier plan is working. We're presently in tier 1, so we are constraining the usage of gas. Now, it is negatively impacting the PD in terms of the officers being visible in the community and proactive patrolling, which we know is one of the cornerstones upon community policing and what we build our patrol practices upon. I just don't know where this thing is going to land, and that's I don't know. But in July there was a new gas contract, and I have no idea what that's going to be. As the commission knows, we are not locked in for gas pricing, and we pay rack plus 27 cents at the time of fill up each month. The town managers told us all at a department head meeting that we are responsible to cover the cost of this over expenditure and to stay within our forecasted gasoline usage. Presently, we are still in the first tier of our gasoline constraint plan. As you know, our constraint plan has 5 tiers to it, and the tiers move from least to most restrictive depending on our fuel consumption rate each month. As well can be imagined, they do have an impact on our policing operations in terms of visibility and enforcement. Personnel Officer Ben Church has left us for the New Hampshire State Police on or about 2 May. We have 2 candidates in mind for our open positions and a plan on filling those positions I would like to discuss with the Commission in non-public session this evening. Officer Chief Retired Christopher Warren and I will be present, will present to the Police Standards and Training Council for a waiver of his PT requirements at the 24 May 2022 Police Standards and Training Council meeting at 0900 hours. I will keep the Commission informed of the results of this meeting. Operations, criminal investigations, prosecutions. In terms of police investigations, prosecutions, and operations, the month of April was active. Our prosecutor continues to work through the extraordinary caseload created by the courts in terms of the response to COVID-19 pandemic. I'm afraid this will continue for quite some time. I forecast even into 2023. The month of April saw 16 defendants respond to 18 charges. Of those, 15 pled or were found guilty at trial, and 3 charges were placed on file pending good behavior restitution, classes, or counseling as part of their agreements. Conviction rate at this past month is 100%, with $7,158 in fines, restitution, and penalties meted out by the courts. Safety and security matters. April proved to be a busy month for traffic, and the good news is we came down in traffic crashes. That's great. We are still realizing significant increases in traffic volumes because of a variety of reasons. We believe that the population of Wolfeboro has grown a bit beyond the 2020 census, mostly due to folks escaping the major population centers to ride out COVID-19. I suspect the traffic to our town will continue to be heavy all season long, so please plan for this in advance and leave earlier for your destinations. Lastly, during significant weather events, if you don't have to go out, don't. The vast majority of our crashes occur during periods of inclement weather. Plan for needs ahead of these storms, cancel non-important appointments or events, and if possible, appointments or events if possible. Additionally, please be mindful of sand and other debris still on the roads after the long winter. This will hinder a vehicle's stopping ability. Please give our very talented road crews the space and time they need to get our roads cleaned up, and please be careful when passing them. Thanks. We have updated the department's computer system with needed updates. This always is a work in progress, but right now all is running well, so that just happened in dispatch. Motor vehicle enforcement, in an effort to mitigate the traffic crashes we realize monthly, we will be continuing a strong, proactive approach to motor vehicle enforcement. This can be seen in our monthly briefing slides. We'll be conducting aggressive speed reduction patrols throughout town, so please, if you are in a habit of speeding, don't. Lastly, we continue to deploy assets and patrols for our identified problem areas. And as FYI, we will be deploying the radar warning signs and radar trailer to the problem areas here shortly, now that the weather has begun to improve. Matter of note, if you have a blue inspection sticker, which I am seeing quite a bit of still, or a registration anywhere on your vehicle, you are wrong. Please check your vehicle for proper registration and inspections. I'm still seeing and noticing many outdated inspection and registration stickers. Get your vehicles registered and inspected. Spring is here, and we have started our enhanced motor vehicle enforcement operations. We will be checking ever so closely for compliance with the New Hampshire registration and inspection laws. If you are found to be out of compliance, you could subject yourself to various punitive measures, and of course your vehicle could be towed from the scene if it is absent registration. Just a word to the wise in this respect. Training. Officer Peasley is monthly SWAT training. He has that twice a month. Sergeant Strock went to K-9 training. Corporal Shanks did crisis intervention team, mental health and awareness de-escalation training for police officers. And that was from NAMI, New Hampshire, and they are presenting the Crisis Intervention Team program to law enforcement and first responders in New Hampshire. The 40-hour CIT program originated in 1988 in Memphis, Tennessee, after an officer-involved shooting of an individual with mental illness. CIT highlights best practices and improves community partnerships and helps communities develop processes to serve people affected by mental illness with respect and dignity. So this is a really good, I'm glad he's doing that. This is really good training. Officer Peasley went to Rescue Task Force training, which was a SWAT recommended class, and Sergeant Strock, of course, did his obligatory K-9 training. Dispatch Media Alliance completed the FBI leader course. Supervisor, and this is a Supervisor Leadership Institute run through the Federal Bureau of Investigations, 4.5-day program built especially for first-line supervisors and middle managers with the goal of enhancing their leadership competencies. Officers and others will be engaged in personality diagnostics, leadership case studies, mentoring, developing your people's performance, management, risk management, and credibility training. This institute is student-centered and rich in facilitated dialogue and group work. The captain's been through it. Every single one of our first-line supervisors has now completed this. They all have great things to say about it. This is really good training. Of course, we get this training obviously when you go to the FBI Academy as well as part of the program there. I will tell you, the FBI does a first-class job. And so we're very grateful for them putting on that training.
Just to go back to the SWAT training,
Yes, sir.
is that an all-day affair when he
Oh,
goes?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. That's quite exhausting, by the way.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
8
I'm
hours.
sure.
You won't see me doing it. And matters of outreach and interest, and we're still engaged in a wide variety of TV talk shows, along with town and Wolfeboro committees and programs and groups and so forth and so on. Safety tip of the month, watch out for our road crews who will be alongside our roads, getting them cleaned up from the long winter. Please give them the space they need to work safely, and please slow down when passing them on the sides of the roads. Thank you very much. And we have had some of our road crew members struck by vehicles in the past, so please, folks, be careful. They are out there working. Give them the space they need to work. Mr. Chairman, subject to your questions, that's all I have. I do want to go over very briefly the where we landed after the first quarter of fiscal year 2022.
Yep, I'm just looking for the financials here.
I have an extra copy if you need it.
No, I have it. I just gotta go through all the emails here. April financial reports. There we go. Okay, when you ready?
I am, sir. Yeah, so we are actually, and this is from a reading from a report on that was printed by Sherry on 4 May, so that's pretty close to the end of April. So we were, at that point, we were 34.7%, well, correction, we should have been, or if everything was running as it should be, we would have been 34.7% spent. We actually, the police department itself came in at 32.318%, so approximately 2.83% underspent, so that's good. Dispatch running a little hot at 35.144%, so that's 0.44% overspent. I'll explain that here in a moment. And animal control doing very well at actually 0% spent, and we know why that is. Because we're in the process of a reorganization of that program. So the police department is doing very well. The reason dispatch is showing a slight over expenditure, if you can just bear with me, and Sherry, you can help me out with this. We had a encumbered expense of approximately $18,000. That was for the recorder.
Yep.
That was actually purchased in December, November, December of last year. That bill carried over because it was paid in January, even though it was encumbered back a year ago. It actually came over, so it was added. That money was added to the budget, and then it was paid. Okay, so what that did is that has the effect of adding $18,000, which shoots up that particular line when we pay out that $18,000. So the bill came in, the debit came out, or the credit came in, the debit went out because the bill was paid. But what it's doing is it's making it look like that we're running hotter than normal, and we're not, because remember that bill is, we're running this against 12 calendar months.
Right.
So it's almost like if you're paying a bill for the whole year. Okay, so sure, in January, if you pay a bill for the entire year, it's gonna make you look hot in January and probably February. As we move further on in the year, it will equal itself out, yeah. So, yeah, I think we're doing fairly well right now. The fact that we're running 2.83% underspent in the police department, in spite of the high gas is very good. Of course, we know our plan is working, and we'll keep at it. We want to see if we can during June, July, and August, at least go back to what I call steady state operations. But gentlemen, before I commit to that, I got to see where we land in May. I want to see what the gas price is, what it's projected to be, before I commit to anything like that. I just don't know, and I do not want to overspend the bottom line of the budget. I just don't want to do that, and there's no relief in sight.
Okay.
So it's hard telling, not knowing. I just don't know what July is going to bring. I'm not anticipating gas prices to go down. I think, and even if peace breaks out in the Ukraine, it's going to take a while for the supply chains to kick back in. I just don't see. I just don't see any relief at the pumps.
Okay.
Gentlemen, subject to your questions.
Anything, Sean?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Our next meeting date will be here in the Bradley Room at the library on June 16th at 4 p.m. We do not have a member of the Board of Selectmen here, so we can't get any input from them. Do we have any public comment at this time? Nothing? Okay. Then at this time, I will entertain a motion to enter into non-public session under 91:3 under paragraphs B and C, hiring and reputation, personal reputation.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Commissioner Coop, seconded by Commissioner Wood. Roll call vote. Commissioner Coop?
Aye.
And Commissioner Wood is a yes as well. We will stand in recess while we clear the room for non-public session. Thank you all.